Ever wondered where the world's most powerful figures lived throughout history? Join me as I unveil the breathtaking architectural marvels that are Earth's most stunning palaces, where opulence, artistry, and power converge in spectacular fashion. Number 10. Mysore Palace. Standing as a testament to India's royal heritage, Mysore Palace, also called Ambavilas Palace, served as the magnificent seat of power for the Wadiyar dynasty. I discovered that its origins trace back to the 14th century when Yadaraya, the first Raja of Mysore, commissioned its construction within the old fort. What fascinated me was learning about the palace's tumultuous history. The original wooden structure repeatedly fell victim to devastating fires, necessitating multiple reconstructions throughout the centuries. After yet another destructive blaze, the current incarnation rose from the ashes in 1912, masterfully crafted from stone, bricks, and wood. The investment was staggering: 41 crore, 47 lakh, 913 rupees, equivalent to roughly $30 million today. My research revealed that Mysore Palace now draws more than 6 million visitors yearly, making it India's second most visited landmark after the iconic Taj Mahal. The palace's resilient history mirrors India's own enduring cultural legacy that continues to captivate the world. Number 9. Château de Chambord. Rising majestically from the Loire Valley countryside, Château de Chambord stands as perhaps the world's most recognizable chateau, captivating me with its breathtaking French Renaissance architecture. What I find most remarkable is how it seamlessly blends traditional medieval French elements with classical Renaissance structures, creating something truly unique. Despite being the largest chateau in the Loire Valley, I was surprised to learn it wasn't actually built as a royal residence. Instead, King Francis I commissioned it merely as an elaborate hunting lodge. The original design came from Tuscan architect Domenico da Cortona, though I've read compelling evidence suggesting Leonardo da Vinci's influence on the distinctive double helix staircase and other innovative features. Construction began in 1519, but fascinatingly was never fully completed. What speaks volumes about Francis I's immense power and wealth was his bold decision to host his longtime arch-rival, Emperor Charles V, at Chambord. A calculated display of French royal grandeur meant to overwhelm and intimidate his political opponent. Number 8. The Alhambra. Perched dramatically above Granada, Spain, the Alhambra captivated me instantly with its dual identity as both a magnificent palace and an imposing fortress. I consider it the crown jewel of Islamic architecture, remarkably preserved through centuries of tumultuous history. What fascinates me most is how the complex also incorporates stunning examples of Spanish Renaissance design, creating a visual dialogue between cultures. Construction began in 1238 under the vision of Muhammad Firmai ibn al-Ahmar, founder of the Emirate of Granada and first Nasrid emir. Through my research, I discovered that subsequent Nasrid rulers continuously modified the structure, with the most significant transformations occurring during the 14th century reigns of Yusuf Thafir and Muhammad Fawr. After centuries of neglect following the Christian reconquest, the Alhambra underwent extensive restorations beginning in the 19th century. Today, this UNESCO World Heritage Site stands as Spain's most visited monument, drawing over 2.7 million visitors annually to marvel at its intricate stonework, peaceful courtyards, and spectacular views. Number 7. Potala Palace. Dominating Lhasa's skyline, the Potala Palace took my breath away when I first glimpsed its imposing silhouette against the Tibetan sky. This magnificent dzong, a unique Tibetan fortified monastery, served as the winter residence for generations of Dalai Lamas from 1649 until 1959. What struck me was learning how construction began in 1645 under the 5th Dalai Lama, following his spiritual advisor's revelation that this location perfectly balanced power between the influential Drepung and Sera monasteries and the ancient city of Lhasa. Rising an impressive 13 stories, with more than 1,000 rooms cascading down the Red Mountain, the palace's brilliant engineering fascinated me, particularly the ingenious earthquake protection method of pouring molten copper into its foundations. Since becoming a museum and UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1994, I've observed how it continues to stand as an enduring symbol of Tibetan Buddhism and culture. The palace's massive white and ochre walls house priceless artifacts, ancient manuscripts, and intricate artwork that reflects centuries of spiritual devotion. Number 6. Topkapı Palace. Rising above the meeting point of Europe and Asia, Topkapı Palace captured my imagination as I explored Istanbul's historic peninsula. This magnificent complex once served as both the administrative heart of the Ottoman Empire and the opulent residence of its powerful sultans until the 17th century. I was fascinated to learn that construction began in 1459, just 6 years after Sultan Mehmed the Conqueror seized Constantinople. Though interestingly, it didn't receive its current name, meaning Cannon Gate, until the 19th century. What impressed me most was how the palace evolved organically over centuries, expanding dramatically after surviving both a devastating 1509 earthquake and a catastrophic fire in 1665. Today, as I wandered through its 4 grand courtyards and numerous smaller buildings, I could almost hear echoes of the empire's 400-year history within its walls. Following the Ottoman Empire's dissolution in 1923, the Turkish government transformed this seat of imperial power into the extraordinary museum we can explore today. Number 5. Buckingham Palace. Standing majestically at the heart of London, Buckingham Palace deserves its place as perhaps the world's most iconic royal residence. I was surprised to discover its humble beginnings as merely a large townhouse built for the Duke of Buckingham in 1703. Initially called Buckingham House, it transformed into the Queen's House after King George III acquired it in 1761 as a private residence for Queen Charlotte. What fascinates me most is how this relatively modest beginning evolved into today's magnificent structure, the official administrative headquarters of the British monarch and the backdrop for countless historic moments. Every time I visit London, I'm struck by how this architectural masterpiece continues to serve as the emotional center of British life, a gathering place during national celebrations and times of collective mourning. With its staggering 775 rooms and sprawling gardens, the largest private garden in London, Buckingham Palace remains both a working royal headquarters and a living symbol of British heritage that draws millions of visitors annually. Number 4. Palace of Versailles. Just outside Paris stands what I consider the ultimate expression of royal extravagance, the Palace of Versailles. Every time I visit, I'm struck by how this breathtaking masterpiece of French Baroque architecture began as merely a hunting lodge for King Louis XIII. The transformation came under his son, Louis XIV, whose vision and limitless resources created this monument to absolute power. Walking through the Hall of Mirrors, I'm always captivated by how the 357 mirrors were revolutionary technology in their time, a deliberate display of French technological superiority. What fascinates me most is how Versailles served as France's political epicenter for over a century, housing up to 10,000 nobles, servants, and courtiers at its peak. The Sun King's strategy was brilliant, keeping potentially troublesome nobles close under his watchful eye while bankrupting them with the expensive obligation of maintaining proper appearances at court. This magnificent palace, with its 700 rooms and 2,000-acre gardens, remains humanity's most spectacular testament to monarchical authority. Number 3. The Royal Palace of Madrid. Standing majestically in Madrid's historic center, the Royal Palace never fails to leave me speechless with its imposing facade and overwhelming grandeur. I discovered that with 3,418 rooms, it ranks among Europe's largest palaces, a deliberate architectural statement of Spanish royal power. What captivated me most during my visits was the breathtaking interior, where each room tells its own story through an extraordinary collection of artistic treasures. Walking through the palatial halls, I found myself surrounded by masterpieces from legendary Spanish artists, including Velázquez, Goya, and even Italian master Caravaggio. Beyond its artistic significance, I was fascinated to learn how these walls have witnessed pivotal moments in Spanish history, from King Alfonso XIII's proclamation in 1902 to the historic ratification of Spain's constitution in 1978. The palace's continued importance in modern Spain illustrates how this architectural marvel bridges the nation's royal past with its democratic present, creating an unbroken cultural narrative that continues to evolve. Number 2. The Royal Palace of Caserta. Rising from the landscape of southern Italy, the Royal Palace of Caserta completely transformed my understanding of Baroque architecture. Commissioned by the House of Bourbon II Sicilies as their principal residence while ruling Naples, this colossal structure stands as Europe's largest palace built during the 18th century. What struck me most during my visit was the sheer scale, covering an astonishing 47,000 square meters, making it one of the world's largest palaces. UNESCO rightfully recognized its exceptional value in 1997, and I was fascinated by their description, calling it the swan song of the spectacular art of the Baroque. Walking through its grand corridors, I felt how every architectural element was deliberately designed to create illusions of infinite space extending in multiple directions. The palace's 1,200 rooms, monumental staircases, and spectacular gardens with cascading fountains demonstrate how the Bourbon monarchs spared no expense in creating this masterpiece meant to rival Versailles and showcase their immense wealth and power. Number 1. The Winter Palace. Looming majestically over St. Petersburg's Neva River, the Winter Palace immediately overwhelmed me with its sheer grandeur, deliberately designed to project the awesome power of Imperial Russia. As I explored this architectural colossus, I realized how perfectly it embodied the might of a nation that once controlled nearly 1/6 of the Earth's landmass. The statistics alone left me breathless. An almost inconceivable 1,886 doors, 1,945 windows, 1,500 rooms, and 117 staircases. What fascinated me most was realizing you could literally visit a different space within this palace every single day for years without repetition. Following the Russian Revolution, I was struck by how completely this symbol of imperial authority transformed, evolving from the opulent home of czars into one of the world's most celebrated museums. Now housing the extraordinary Hermitage collection, the palace attracts around 3.5 million visitors annually, who come to marvel at both its architectural splendor and the priceless treasures contained within its mint green walls. From the intricate designs of Mysore to Versailles' opulence and Russia's imposing Winter Palace, these architectural marvels continue to captivate millions. Subscribe now to join me on our next journey through history's most extraordinary structures.